have sung until now almost exclusively Verdi and a little bit of Puccini, Tosca, and maybe an occasional French. I did Le Cid of Massenet, but most of my repertoire has been Verdi heroines. Singing Isolde is a departure, but I hope also the beginning of a new chapter in my artistic development. This evolving is entirely thanks to Alexander Neff. Alexander Neff is the reason why I chose to start looking at Isolde, because he offered it to me. I never really considered going into the German repertoire before him, actually. And I thought that if I was going to start with German repertoire, I would sing something much more reasonable, like, you know, a Rhine Maiden or some middle part, or maybe some Strauss, you know, who knows. But Alexander Neff, at the beginning of the COVID crisis, called my agent and said, we want Mary Elizabeth to sing Isolde in Paris. I was fascinated with the challenge, and I was also heartened by the fact that I had a lot of time to actually dig in and study and prepare. It is so cinematic, the way Wagner writes. You know, he never really says anything twice. None of his characters say anything twice. So as Isolde, I may go over the same story. I may tell the story twice, but I tell it in a different way. Her character is constantly evolving, but very slowly, you know. So we have, as Wagnerians, as singers that sing this repertoire, there's a great challenge of stamina. So we have to learn how to sing with the most economy possible. Because these roles are so long and the stories, you know, move slowly but constant. It's like a big ship on a huge open sea, you know, that's moving, moving, moving all the time against all different kinds of water and weather, but there's this sense of slow, deliberate forward movement. When you have this orchestra underneath you, it's like you really do feel like you're floating, suspended on top of something that is sustaining you. And it makes the relationship to the acoustic marvel that is happening, it makes my job much easier, because the orchestra is doing this underneath me, and sometimes they do this and they envelop me, and I get so much energy. Every time I do it, it's a marvel. And it adds to my understanding of where I fit in this relatively simple story, which is about forbidden love, and it's about life and death. You know, these are themes that are very deep, but they're very simple. And in the simplicity of this love triangle and this life and death and the decision of what to do about what happens when you can't get what you want, and what happens when the life that you are told that you must live is not what you want to do. You know, we all can relate to questions like this. But Wagner has wrapped these relatively simple but profound themes in a music that is that brings us psychologically and philosophically to a place that is much, much, much deeper than we could ever go. I think Isolde is a wonderfully complicated woman, because I think, you know, a lot is made of the first act, that she has to come out and she's very angry. But one of the things that Peter has said since the beginning, and I absolutely agree with him, is that anger by itself is not particularly interesting. And also I think it's not particularly authentic, because most people, if they experience anger, it's a byproduct of some other emotion, like hurt or some sort of other trauma. Anger is what happens after something bad has happened to you inside.